The NFL offseason is in a bit of a dormant phase right now. Free agency started a few weeks back, and a lot of the big names have already been scooped up. We're in a bit of a midway point between free agency and the draft right now. A lot of teams are probably shifting their focus to focusing on their draft day strategies more so than they have so far. And while there are a few free agents left, a lot of the big names have been scooped up, as I said. A lot of big trades have gone down. But one team that, for the most part, has stayed relatively silent and has drawn a bit of criticism both from their own fan base as well as NFL fans across the league and across social media has been the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Eagles, it's hard to say what what the biggest takeaway from their offseason has been so far, because you can look at the team. They had a decent amount of cap space, have a lot of assets coming into the draft this year, and they have a lot of good young pieces on the team. And it seems like at least some Eagles fans thought the team would have done more to improve at this point after surprisingly making a playoff run in Nick Sirianni's first season as the head coach in 2021. Now, it's not like the Eagles have done absolutely nothing so far this offseason. Their biggest move, one I was a big fan of, they signed former Temple pass rusher, former Cardinals and Panthers linebacker Hassan Reddick to a 3-year, $45 million deal. And I think this move really improves the Eagles' pass rush and their defense as a whole. They also made some other around-the-margin deals, such as signing former Colts receiver Zach Pascal, who was with Nick Sirianni in Indianapolis, to a 1-year deal to help improve the offense. They also brought back Derek Barnett, a move that had some Eagles fans rather confused, rather frustrated after his lack of production, and with the depth they have on the defensive line. It wasn't necessarily seen as a move that needed to happen. And most recently, a move I was a fan of, the Eagles brought in Kaiser White, the former Chargers linebacker, who, in my opinion, had a breakout season last year. He had 144 tackles. While he's not exactly an elite linebacker, he's certainly a steady hand, and they got him at a nice cheap price. 1-year, $5 million deal for him. Now, even though these moves are going to help the Eagles come 2022, a lot of people, including myself at times, I'm not really sure how I feel about it quite yet, have noticed that the Eagles probably could have done more to improve the team so far. They have the draft assets. They have a bit of cap space. They could be making trades too. Some people wanted to improve the quarterback position. Some people wanted to improve the wide receiver position. Some people were happy with what has happened so far because they feel like the most important thing to improve was the defense, and guys like Reddick and Kaiser White help improve that defense. So I think the verdict is down the middle for if this Eagles offseason is a success thus far. A lot of people also wanted to sign safety Tyra Matthew, who's still a free agent. It's still possible for the Eagles to go out and get him, former first-team All-Pro a season ago, as well as years in the past. He's one of the best safeties in the NFL. But to me, I'm not so sure if this Eagles offseason is a success or not yet, because it's not finished. Everyone forgets about the draft, and the Eagles have plenty of draft picks coming down the pipeline. We know they have 3 first-round picks, pick 15, pick 16, pick 19, as well as a second-round pick, third-round pick, fourth-round pick, 3 fifth-round picks, and a sixth-round pick. That's a ton of assets. You're going to be bringing in plenty of new players that could potentially impact this team. And when you look at the Eagles team right now, what I look at, safety definitely in need, and I do think the Eagles should have made a run at Tyra Matthew. They might still be making one. They might be waiting for the asking price to go down in terms of salary, but I also think they need receiver help. Devontae Smith had a great rookie season, but I think he needs some more help in the passing game for sure. Jalen Hurts needs more options to throw to. And I think the team could use some offensive line depth as well as some cornerback depth as well. So those are the 4 positions I think the Eagles need the most addressed with these draft picks. And with the holding of 3 first-round picks, that's ample opportunity to improve the team right there. You could potentially get 3 impact players right from the gate, plus the second-round pick. Second-round picks are almost as valuable as first-round picks in some scenarios, and I think that holds true for the Eagles here, because that's a 4th guy high in the draft that you're adding to this team. Now, the concern, of course, for some Eagles fans would be, for people all across the league really, is that Howie Roseman doesn't have the most consistent track record drafting players, especially offensive players, when it comes to a receiver. We've already seen him take Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson, as well as J.J. Arcega-Whiteside over DK Metcalf and others in the 2019 draft. Now, the thing about Roseman, I think he's also made some solid picks. He's made some solid moves. Guys like Jordan Mailata, Josh Sweat coming off the fringes to become real impact players for this Eagles team, getting contract extensions. He even drafted Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox all those years back. So Lane Johnson, he has the track record to bring in impact guys to the Eagles, both on free agency and especially in the draft. But he's also had, especially in recent years, his fair share of draft screw-ups. Derek Barnett's another example. Some corners, I'm forgetting off the top of my head who, but Sidney Jones, for example. A lot of guys haven't panned out in more recent years for Roseman, but this is his chance to really bounce back. Last year, he kind of already did with the smart move to trade down, but then trade back up, get Devontae Smith, but also bring in more first-round picks, bringing in the Miami Dolphin first-round pick that they hold in this draft. So he helped get the Eagles more assets, but now as the GM, he has to act on it. He has to put the pieces around Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni's offense, Nick Sirianni's team really in general, to continue improving. And when you look at the state of the NFC East, the Cowboys, in my opinion, had a disastrous offseason for the most part. They lost a lot of guys, and I didn't think they made the right moves almost entirely. I don't think not even the football team, the Commanders, I forgot. They changed their name, but I don't think their move to acquire Carson Wentz is going to improve the team drastically, and I don't think the Giants are anywhere near ready to compete despite a really solid head coaching hire in Brian Daboll. I think they're a couple years off still. So I think this is honestly the Eagles' division to lose, but they have to make the right decisions here, and they also have to hope some players improve. Jalen Hurts, not a bad year for what I consider basically his rookie season. I don't think his 4 starts in 2020 really count as his rookie year. I mean, 16 passing touchdowns, 3,000 passing yards, 61% completion. Not the greatest season as a passer, but for what I'm considering basically a rookie, not the worst. It's better than guys like Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson stat-wise last year, and his running ability we know is absolutely deadly. He had 784 yards and 10 rushing touchdowns. Now, if things go awry for the Eagles, they can always bring in Gardner Minshew if Jalen Hurts disappoints. I think Gardner Minshew deserves to be a starter, whether it's with the Eagles or another team. I think the Eagles made the right choice keeping Jalen Hurts instead of trading for Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson. I think the move to keep these assets, keep these picks in place right now is the right move for the Eagles. I don't think they should have overreached for a quarterback when Jalen Hurts is still so young, and you already made the playoffs a year ago with him as your quarterback. The key for Hurts, and it's kind of like Tua Tagovailoa right now in Miami where they just gave him weapons. I think if Hurts gets more weapons, then we'll find out if he's really a true franchise quarterback or if he's going to be a placeholder and going to have to get moved in a few years. Right now, Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert are his only true options in the passing game. I would like to see the Eagles address this in the draft using one of those first-round picks on a wide receiver. Kind of makes me mad because I need my Packers to get a receiver in the first round as well, and the Eagles are just one of many teams that are going to give us competition for those receivers in this draft. But nonetheless, I think the Eagles are going to have to address that. And they're also going to have to hope that the running game improves a little bit because I think the Eagles' running game was solid last year. Nick Sirianni it seems that he likes to do a running back by committee approach. We saw Jordan Howard have a brief resurgence before his injury. He's a free agent right now. He hasn't been brought back. But really, it's Miles Sanders who I think needs to step up, and he hasn't been terrible when he's on the field. He has a career average of 5 yards per carry, and in his rookie season, he showed his potential as a receiving back with 55 receptions. But injuries and inconsistencies over the past 2 years have limited his upside. But the former Penn State product, I think this year is his make or break year. If he can't become a real number one back, if he can't stay healthy, I think it's time for the Eagles to cut bait on him and not re-sign him for a second contract after the 2022 season. But I think he also has a shot to really break through in this offense if Nick Sirianni gives him the freedom, because we know that early in the remember last season, early in the year, Nick Sirianni he drew heavy criticism for his lack of usage of Sanders in the run game in general, but he kind of switched his style of offensive play to fit Jalen Hurts' skill set as a runner. He recognized that the team didn't have many options besides Smith and Goddard, and that's kind of what got the Eagles in the playoffs. So we'll have to see if that approach continue to be consistent in 2022, and we'll have to see if it helps Sanders improve down the line. The Eagles' offensive line, they're getting Lane Johnson hopefully back for a full season. Jason Kelce re-signed. Jordan Mailata continues to get better, and they got some young guys like Landon Dickerson as well. I would like to see them draft maybe a guard with that second-round pick to further solidify the offensive line. And then defensively, guys like Darius Slay, who had a great season last year, bouncing back from a shaky first year with the Eagles. I mentioned the linebacker additions of Reddick and White to go with T.J. Edwards, who also had 130 tackles of his own a season ago. Just like Kaiser White, I don't think he's an elite linebacker, but I think he's a solid hand, better than anything the Eagles have had. Kaiser White and T.J. Edwards, in my opinion, is probably the best inside linebacker duo the Eagles have had in many years, and I think it's going to help them a lot just to have decent players there instead of piss-poor players like Nathan Gary. And the D-line has long been their strong suit. Javon Hargrave had a breakout year last year. Josh Sweat continues to get better. Brandon Graham will be returning from injury. Derek Barnett was brought back, but I guess he's just for depth. Milton Williams, I've heard some good things about, and Fletcher Cox they released, but brought back on a smaller deal. Really, the only deficiency I can see for this Eagles defense is that the safety position. I'm not a fan of the Marcus Epps, Anthony Harris, Kevon Wallace trio. I think a first-round pick spent on a safety. You got three first-round picks. I think one of them goes to a safety for sure. But overall, I think the Eagles, my main point I'm trying to make here is that Eagles fans, I don't think it's time to panic just yet. I think you got to give this offseason time to breathe. Got to see what happens as free agency continues. Maybe the Eagles can add a veteran receiver. Someone like an Emmanuel Sanders or T.Y. Hilton, while they're getting older, could also help the team. If you pair them with Pascal, Devontae Smith, and a rookie receiver, I think that could be a decent receiving room. Dallas Goedert, in my opinion, is also a top 5 tight end in the NFL right now. So I think the offense, if the right moves are made by Howie Roseman, could actually be very solid and could be an NFC East winning offense in 2022. So thank you guys for watching my video today. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And the Eagles, they got a good chance of improving, so we'll have to see what they do as this offseason continues.